Audit Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Gerke, and this is actually going to be a really short show because, believe it or not, all I'm doing today is the games list and a news story or two. And of course, I'm going to talk about the conference title games for yesterday, and I'll be out. But first, we'll go. I'm trying to think of whether to do the games list first or the conference titles. I'm not going to preview the Super Bowl right away. I have all this week and the 6 days, all next week to do that. So I'm not going to preview the entire matchup with the Bucks and the Chiefs yet this week. So instead, what I'll do for this week is just give you the games list like I've been doing. So this modified schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll just do like I've been doing. Just games list and any news stories that pop over the wire for any of the four leagues or college basketball entirely. As far as today's show, let's get with the games list first. And let's go to, let me pop open the app real quick, the ESPN app. Let me pop this open. Come on, phone, wake up. Okay, let's go to the NBA first for the next 2 days. Remember, this is the modified schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Pending anything else. All right, so today's games got the Sixers and Pistons. I'm taking the Sixers. Raptors, Pacers. I'm taking the Pacers. The Hornets, Magic. I'm taking the Hornets. The Heat and the Nets. I'm taking the Nets. The Lakers and Cavs. I'm taking the Lakers. Kings and Grizzlies is postponed because of COVID. I think the Grizzlies still have COVID issues. Nuggets, Mavericks. I'm taking the Nuggets. Celtics, Bulls. I'm taking the Celtics. Spurs, Pelicans. I'm taking the Spurs. Warriors, Timberwolves. I am taking the Warriors. And the Trailblazers and the Thunder. I'm taking the Trailblazers. So that's today's schedule. Tomorrow's NBA schedule goes as follows. For Tuesday's NBA schedule, we only have 3 games on. Got Clippers, Hawks. I'm taking the Clippers. Wizards, Rockets. I'm taking the Rockets. And the Knicks and the Jazz. I'm taking the Jazz to beat my closet fan basketball team, the New York Knicks. So now, I know you guys are going, well, you just care about the games. Well, yeah, because this is the regular season. Talk to me when the playoffs matter, because that's what the rest of the show is going to be about. Playoffs, especially in the NFL, and the NHL and the NBA and baseball will get their run as well. But this is why I only do the games list part first. Okay, let's go to college basketball, see if there's anything good on tonight. Probably anything good on right now. Inside the top 25, we only have 2 on today. Virginia is beating Syracuse 10-6 right now. That game is underway. 15:06 to go in the first half. And you got Texas Tech and West Virginia. I'm taking the Mountaineers to beat the Red Raiders. Or not the Mountaineers. I'm taking the Red Raiders. So I'm taking Texas Tech over West Virginia in that game. For Tuesday's schedule, I'm taking Texas to beat Oklahoma in the basketball version of the Red River rivalry. Yes, say that 3 times fast. Kentucky, Alabama. I'm taking Alabama to beat the Wildcats. And I'm taking Tennessee over Mississippi State. Wow, this is a SEC heavy stuff. Nope, okay. Then you got St. Louis. I'm taking the Billikens over the Flyers. So St. Louis over Dayton. And Missouri over Auburn. So that's Tuesday's schedule inside the top 25 for college basketball. Which now leads me to the NHL. This is kind of why I've waited so long on this show, because weirdly enough, today there's only 1 game on the NHL schedule. And yeah, there's only 1 game on today. 1. If you're a hockey fan, there's only 1 game on today. Let's see. Let's go right to it. It's only Ottawa and Vancouver. I'm taking the Canucks to beat the Senators. So there's that. Now we can get to the real part of the show, and then I'll throw in a news story where the Baseball Players Union and baseball are at it again. Remember, if you've been listening to the show since June, both sides have been complaining about, or they were trying to figure out how to get the 2020 season going, and it took them dang near 3 months to do that. And I covered it all the way around from June on. Well, they're back at it again because the Players Union is denying baseball the opportunity to allow the universal DH and an expanded playoff format. I'll read you that story at the end of the show. But of course, we're going to save the best for last. That is Conference Championship Sunday is officially done. My Buccaneers beat the Green Bay Packers 31-26. Now, this was the first time the Buccaneers have done it since 2003. In fact, this is the 18-year anniversary of that so-called game today. I learned that while I was listening to the Dan Patrick Show, kind of doing research. Thanks to Paulie Babst, anyway. Anyway, the Bucs win that game. That game solely was for that defense. It was not Tom Brady. Let's be clear. I mean, I'll go into the stat line if you guys really want the stat line and you want me to not be a homer. Aaron Rodgers did outplay Tom Brady for the entire game. The entire game. I mean, I'll go into the stat lines right now. Ready? I'll go into the stat line for this game right now. Let me turn off the volume really quick on my phone so I can read it to you. But here it is. Ready? Tom Brady, 20 of 36, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 picks. And by the way, Green Bay Packer fans, when Tom Brady threw those 3 consecutive interceptions, believe me, every Buccaneer fan, including myself, was scared that you guys were going to win that game. You guys had the momentum. But of those 3 turnovers, got no points. None. Off those turnovers. None. Oh, and by the way, where was that 80% red zone offense? You only got, 9 points, I think? Because you got there on the first drive. Well, actually, no, you didn't even, you didn't even score, that Valdez-Scantling touchdown, the first one. When you tied the game at 7, that wasn't even in the red zone. That was, barely inside of Tampa territory? And he made a heck of a catch and a runaway. I mean, he beat Carlton Davis on that. And there's no doubt about that one. But Aaron Rodgers threw a pick, too. I mean, we'll look at his numbers, right? We'll go statistically on this, right? Okay. Aaron Rodgers, just him. 33 of 48, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Right? That is a better stat line. There's no doubt. I'm willing to admit that. That's fine. But once again, no points off those 3 Buccaneer turnovers. None whatsoever. Now, the only sympathy I have for Green Bay today is, why didn't you just go for it on 4th down? That was it. Like everybody else in America, I was wondering too. How come you didn't go for it? I was shocked. Like everybody else in America, I was shocked. But that's Matt LaFleur's decision. He had to live with it. And honestly, don't buy in to Aaron Rodgers' uncertainty with the future. The dude just lost. What do you think he's going to feel? He's going to feel sad that he basically did. He outplayed Tom Brady from start to finish. But the Tampa Bay defense held him out. Now, Bucs fans, Tom Brady cannot play the way he did in the second half against the Packers and translate that to Super Sunday. Cannot. Cannot whatsoever. If they do, the Chiefs will blow us out. I mean, I'm going to get to the Chiefs here in a second, but one final take here on the Bucs-Packers game. Good God, it happened as a fan, but cannot keep... I mean, the defense is going to have to ball out one more time. I mean, they got to Aaron Rodgers for 5 sacks, made him throw an interception, pressured him, 31 times or 23 times or somewhere in there, while Brady was only pressured 5 times and sacked once. So, yeah, they're going to have to. Now, you know what the saving grace will be is that, at least for Bucs fans, the saving grace will be that Kansas City will be without both their tackles now that Eric Fisher is out with an Achilles and Mitchell Schwartz. Sorry, I can't say your last name, Mitch. But both your tackles are out, and who knows if Shaq Barrett and JPP play the way they have, then maybe the Bucs have a chance. But I'm not going to give that prediction until Prediction Friday of next week. But as far as Kansas City's concerned, it's business as usual. Let's go to that game, shall we? Yeah, let's go to that game, and then I'll read you the story of another attempt for baseball and the Players Union to make the game better, but they never actually did. If my fingers would cooperate. Hold on. I just can't get this thing to go. There we go. All right, let's pop into the other one. Remember, people watching on Rumble or IGTV, if my head's down like this, it's because I'm working on my phone here. My phone is my notepad. I have to remind that every time because if somebody comes in and says, you're not looking at the camera, well, I'm trying to do 2 things at once here. So, anywho, let's get to the stats on this game. Josh Allen, 28 of 48. 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, albeit one came at the end very late when they didn't have a chance. But he threw an interception. That was his first in his postseason career. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes does what Patrick Mahomes does. 29 of 38, 325, 3 touchdowns, including one he had to throw underhanded. Which, by the way, this is kind of why I'm starting to become a fan of his, especially when Brady retires. How do you throw that? How do you throw a ball like that and, oh yeah, it's just right there. Touchdown. No problem whatsoever. None whatsoever. I mean, let's go into the team stats of this, and then I'll send you out with the baseball story, and then I'll see you guys on Wednesday. But as far as the team stuff, the Chiefs just out-dominated the Bills. 439 total yards to Buffalo's 363. Kansas City threw for more passing yards, 325 to 234. Rushing yards, Buffalo actually outran Kansas City, 129 to 114. But when you're down by, the closest Buffalo got for the entire game was being down 9. And remember, Buffalo was up 9-0. McCole Hardman muffed that punt. And a lot of the Bills fans thought maybe they had a chance. But they stayed around, and then it was too late. Even when Kansas City went on that 21-0 run in the second quarter, Buffalo still had a scary chance. They just couldn't stop the Chiefs. But congratulations, Chiefs Kingdom. Your team will be heading to Tampa for Super Bowl 55 to become the most you're going to be the next attempt to become a team that will do back-to-back Super Bowls for the first time since the 2004 New England Patriots. Now, Uh, we'll see what happens. That's what next week's show, Friday, or I'm trying to think whether I want to do a show either on Friday or late Saturday night just to get you hyped, or even early Sunday morning, because just to tell y'all the truth, CBS will have the broadcasting coverage of the Super Bowl Sunday, but I don't think you guys want to be hearing Captain Obvious and all the people at CBS all day long. So maybe I'll do a show early Sunday morning that week. But as far as last night was concerned, congratulations, Chiefs Kingdom. You dominated. You truly are the best team in the NFL. But you got one more man and one more team to beat in order to do it. Now, let's end this with before I go. I gave you a little teaser on what the story was. I don't even think it was a teaser. I think it was just a summation. But now I'm actually going to read it for you, and then I'll send you out. Let's go to that story now, and then adios. But let's get to this story. I know I keep repeating myself, but let's find this thing. There we go. Okay, the Major League Baseball Players Association has turned down the latest MLB proposal for the universal designated hitter and an expanded playoff format. You know, I gave the teaser for this, but just in that one sentence, I mean, I'll put the story in the episode description if you want to read it. And I gave you the summation, but come on. The Players Union, y'all just need to shut up. Okay? You guys wasted 3 months of a possible opportunity to make this, to at least give baseball 4 months of goodness instead of 2.5. But that's what the Players Union does. Anyway, let's read out the rest of this story. The news was first reported by MLB Network. The union's stance has been all along that it did not want to talk about a trade of the universal DH, which benefits a group of players in return for expanded playoffs. Nonetheless, MLB included the two items in the proposal, and the concept has been turned down. The universal DH and expanded playoff format were implemented in 2020 for the playoff format for the 2020 season. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, you know the story. I'll leave it in there. One more other story. I totally did forget this. But Connor McGreggor got knocked out. Yes, I did pick him to win on Friday, and I had him winning until the first round ended. I know people don't want to acknowledge it, but Connor McGregor is the MMA version of Mike Tyson. Really good early, but if you get him on long enough, he'll lose. But I watched that fight. I watched the whole card, by the way. Michael Chandler's a scary dude. That dude is legit. The hardcore UFC fans, you know what I'm talking about. Actually, you probably know it better than I do. But, that dude's good. He's scary good. Just watch out just in case he becomes a superstar. But, other than that, this is the end of the show. And now I gotta do the obligatory stuff. Thank you for listening or watching to the Austin's Audit Podcast. I've been your host, Austin Gerke. Don't forget to follow. You can listen to this show on Podbean. Just search for the Austin's Audit Podcast. You can also listen to this show on Spotify, Google, Apple if you know the trick, Deezer, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Pandora. And for my Amazon Music listeners, if you have an Alexa-enabled device, just say, "Hey Alexa, play the Austin's Audit Podcast on Amazon Music." You can also follow me on Twitter. My handle is @Austin_Gerke for post-show interaction. You can also follow the show's Facebook page. Just search for the Austin's Audit Podcast. And you can also, if you want to see this beautiful, sexy face on your screens, whether on a desktop or on your phones or tablets, follow this show on Rumble. Click subscribe to Rumble. Just search AD Gerke. That is AD and my last name, which is GEHRKE. The only letter in that search that is capitalized is the letter A. And please, if you're on Rumble, please make sure your search is set to channels, not videos, and search AD Gerke. Once you do that, click subscribe and you will get all the episodes. Episode 1 I did a year ago. All the way till today, which is episode 148. So if you want to see this beautiful, sexy face even more, go on Rumble. For all my Instagrammers, you can follow this. You can listen to this show on SoundCloud, and you can follow the show on IGTV. But until then, I will see you guys tomorrow. I will see you guys Wednesday. Sorry, I'm still on the modified schedule thing. But I'll see you guys Wednesday. You've been listening to the Austin's Audit Podcast, and I've been your host, Austin Gerke. See you guys Wednesday. Peace out.